What's goody? What's goody? This is your boy Juice Wanna, and this is Old York Gritty. Right? First, want to start off by saying, yo, don't forget to check out my book, Street Skelzy, Knock 'em Out the Box, on Amazon Books and other locations. Right? All you gotta do is just type in Street Skelzy, Knock 'em Out the Box. I'm also gonna have up in the corner of my screen, on my home screen, I'm gonna have like all of the links where you can actually check out the book, or you can go to my apparel shop and pick up anything, shirts, mugs, stuff like that, to support my channel. All right, if you want to support it, it's on you. All right. Anyway, let's get to this. Right, I just started this over. For some reason, I was having major problems with the audio clicking in and out. Right. So anyway, let's go back to this again. As you know, I'm going to be providing you with a reading list for you to have your mind cleanse. Nothing that I'm putting out these ain't like one of those gurus or one of you reading my book. I'm coming out with my own stuff, but this right here is to show you how not to become a Freemason, or better yet, the Freemason's tool, right? Because even those who are in Freemasonry are just tools, right? So in this reading, I want you to understand what is its purpose, right? And the purpose is to defend yourself against Freemasonry because it attacks everything around you, with three major areas specifically, right? Inside of yourself, your curiosities, right? Whether it be you're aware of thisness or unaware of this. Right now, because of curiosity, we know that curiosity killed the cat. Right? So through this curiosity is how they indoctrinate people. As we go through the list of readings, I'll point out examples of this. And from there, maybe this will spark you to want to actually do more reading. As we go on, I will be providing different reading lists in different areas. This first one is based on, this first segment here is based on basically protecting your curiosity, right? But then we'll be covering beliefs that's based on religion, spirituality, or simply what they might refer to as a way of life. Now, this ain't a religion. This is a way of life. All religions is a way of life, right? Spirituality is a religion, whether they tell you it is or not. And so through this, I'm going to show and prove, and that's going to be in the second reading list, right? And then, we'll be addressing the morals, your belief in rights and wrongs, your goods and your bads. To be a righteous person, right, you do with other people's views of right or wrong, good or bad. And I can use, say, Moses, for example, right? He killed a man, and through that killing of an enslaver, he was able to free his people, right? And then they had to go to a cleansing stage, because they had to get out all of those things that was given to them by their enslavers, whether it be the Egyptians, right, where they was escaping from, the Babylonians, the Assyrians, and all of these Sumerians, and all of these people, right? So, oh yeah, and by the way, this is my Molly straw hat. Right, must support the people. Right, I've been trying to get away from anything that supports not us. So if it's not for the people, I'm not. I've been gradually not wanting to be a walking billboard. I can't get over my fitted caps. It's just something that I always love. I like the way they feel, right? So first, to protect your curiosity, you would I would advise you to learn these things first and learn them in the order that I'm giving them to you, right? Animal magnetism. Learn Franz Mesmer, right? A mesmerism, mesmerist, and magnetist, right? Inside that, you're going to come across different things like the Royal Commission, but pay attention to charlatanry, right? We will be covering that, separately. So read through the information, pay attention to things that's being offered that I'm going to address to you. And then you will see how just reading it first and then going into those sections, because you don't want to bombard yourself with information without getting a full understanding, right, of the subsections of it, because it's going to lead you on a path as you read this information. So, the second thing you will be reading is hypnotism, which came out of mesmerism, right? Pardon me. Right? Which came out of mesmerism. Now, this is James Braid, right? So, like I said, I'm gonna pull up the pictures in the background, to the, Wikipedias and all of that. So you'll have an insight on them, right? Suggestion or suggestibility. This is going to come inside of those readings. These are going to be the subsections, but I would advise you to take the time after you read those to go into the next section, which is suggestion and suggestibility, right? Then you're going to go into hypnotic susceptibility, right? And so this is going to tell you, basically the rate. And I'm going to give you some breakdowns on some of these things so you'll know what you're getting into. Social skepticism and the romantic era, right? And so, then you're going to want to learn about Nancy School. This is in France, the Nancy School. This deals with hypnotism, and hypnotic and all of that, right? So then after you complete those readings, like I said, most of that stuff, it shouldn't take you, 5 days of reading. It's like very small stuff, you know what I mean? But I say, 5 to 7 days due to the fact that you're gonna want to reread some stuff. It's gonna be like, it should entice you to go, wait a minute, I want to make sure I understand this, right? Because this is gonna explain how Freemasonry works. So then after you read that, you probably already read the, Duncan Richard manuals, but this time after you read these things, those things will begin to make sense within, the Freemasonic Duncan rituals. And it will prepare you after reading those 6 things before these 2, right? On when you read the Master's Carpet, right? On, now mind you, this is all stuff back from the 17th, 18th century. So this is all old stuff. This is not stuff that just came out yesterday. When I actually purchased the Master's Carpet, it was like shit, this is in a like 2001. So over 20 years ago I purchased this book, right? And at the time it cost me like, I want to say $80, $90. So you reading this stuff for free because I'm giving you the PDFs of them. So you'll be able to read them for free, right? So then let's go into this understanding of these different things that you'll be reading, right? So the first thing we addressed was animal magnetism. Also known as mesmerism, was the name given by German doctor Franz Mesmer in the 18th century to what he believed to be an invisible natural force possessed by all living things, humans, animals, and even vegetables. He believed that the force could have physical effects, including healing, and he tried persistently but without success to achieve scientific recognition of his idea. As you go on and you see that mesmerism is the the medical street version of hypnotism, right? So you got the hood, which would be called mesmerism, and then you have this cleaned up version called hypnotism. You would see that that statement can't be true because they transformed mesmerism into hypnotism, right? And so we will be addressing that. The theory attacked numerous. Oh, now let me also say that mesmerism, you hear it in today's, oh yeah, that's animal attraction and these things. They just use different names while still using it, like animal mesmerism, magnetism to animal attraction. So it is still have that connection, and the teachings would still be there. So understand that. So the second thing it will be addressing inside animal magnetism is the theory attracted numerous followers in Europe and the United States. So we go into the Scottish Rite and the York Rite, right? And was popular in the 19th century. Practitioners were often known as magnetizers rather than mesmerists, right? Third thing that you will see as you read in animal magnetism is reported effects included feelings of intense heat, trembling, trances, but I'm pointing out seizures. Pay attention to the mentioning of seizures because as we go into the other two sections, you will see how seizures play a major part in what is being talked about, right? You will understand this. It'd be something that you would normally graze over, but I'm telling you to pay attention to it, right? It's not, you ain't gonna find nothing in it right there, so it will become important later on, right? One of his pupils, Theodore Leger, right, this is from 1799 to 1853, right, who wrote that the label mesmerism was most improper. Why? Right? Because mesmerism, of all the names proposed, this is what he says, mesmerism, of all the names proposed to replace the term animal magnetism, is decidedly the most improper. For, in the first place, no true science has ever been designated by the name of a man who, whatever be the claim, like basically you're not going to name this after somebody because whatever to be the claim, he could argue in his favors after him. You're not going to argue with the person. If I come up with something, that's what it is. You can't argue that. Right, so he's saying, you can't name it after that because it'd be in his favor. And second, what are the claims of Mesmer for such an honor? He is not the inventor of this practical part of the science, since we can trace the practice of it through the most remote ages. So this system that I'm revealing to you is old. That's why when you hear a lot of these woke people and they'll tell you, oh, oh, that's just what it is now. So they're alluding to the same conversation. And it's and in that respect, the part which he introduced has been completely abandoned. Like they don't even believe the magnetic part of it, right? He's right. He proposed for it a theory which is now right 1848 exploded, right, in which on account of his errors has been fatal to our progress. He never spoke of the phenomenon which have rehabilitated our cause among the scientific men. So they're saying that it was around before him, even though he sparked this new thing, right? He shouldn't get that credit, right? Because now we're scientific, quote unquote, hypnotism, right? And since nothing remains to be attributed to Mesmer, right, saying that they moved on from that. The part where, he was introducing it, they moved on from it. Either in the practice of theory or in the discovery that constitutes our science and should be called mesmerism. So he basically giving his argument first. He didn't invent this. This was around before him, Freemasonry. And I'm going to show you the reason why I'm reading that is because as we go on, you will see this same reference, but without him in it, right? I mean, but so it's going to allude to the same conversation that was given, right? So, then the sixth point of this is the French Royal Commission. This was appointed by Louis the 16th, right? Studied mesmer magnetic fluids theory and tried to establish it by scientific evidence. So even when we think about hypnotism, you will see this same thing. And even that doesn't have no real scientific proof, right? The commission of the Academy of Science included who? Benjamin Franklin. I want you to pay attention to that because inside of that we will be exploring him also being a Freemason, right? And we'll be addressing the American Revolution, right? And how all of this is going to connect. This is why I was doing, the shows on slavery and the abolisms and, the abolitionists and these people, because this was all a part of that same system. But back then it was called the Enlightenment, and now it's just called woke. But you will hear the same arguments back then for the same system that you hear now, right? Which the commission agreed that the cures claimed by Mesmer were indeed cures. It also concluded that there was no evidence of the existence of his magnetic fluid, in that its effects derived from either the imagination of the subject or charlatanry, right? And so, like I said, we're gonna get in. I'm just pointing out that when I said it before, they're gonna give you a link to it. You can, well, it's not really that big. You can go into that if you want, but I wouldn't, right? Just due to the fact that Oh, no, no. You go into it because I give you a brief understanding of it now, right? It goes charlatan, also a swindler or monobunk, right? Monobank, right? Is a person practicing quackery, which is like, fake doctor, or a similar confidence trick, conning you, right? In order to obtain money, power, fame, and other advantages through pretenses or descriptions. Synonymous with charlatan included shyster, quack, or fake. What is a quack? It refers to quackery or the practice of dubious medicine, right? Because now you acting like this is a science, and right. So now when you see hypnotism and all of that, they are still practicing that same thing when in reality it's suggestion, right? Medicine, including the sales of snake oil, or a person who does not have medical training who purports to provide medical services. So pay attention to that as you go on, and we see hypnotism and mesmerism, right? Mesmerism, now this is the ninth thing. Mesmerism and hypnosis, right, by Abby Faria, was one of the disciples of who? Franz Anton Mesmer determined that it worked purely by the power of suggestion, right? So this is why you are protecting your mind, because this system works through suggestion, right? And so this is why I'm telling you to read this stuff and get this full understanding of them breaking down mesmerism, and then you go into hypnotism. Right. So now at 10 by 10, you are up to hypnotism. You have went through that, right? You take your own notes. I guarantee you your notes was going to be connected with mine and them little things that strike your interest, right? And I'll explain them to you, because these are where them shows were derived from, pointing out this system, right? So now we up to 10. Hypnotism, a designation coined by the Scottish surgeon James Braid. Now remember, we have the Scottish Rite. So pay attention to as many times as you read this stuff, how the Scottish are going to pop up throughout our conversations, right? Originated in Braid's response to the 1841 exhibition of animal magnetism. So he got involved with it through magnetism, right? And he came up with hypnotism. So now you see how something transformed itself. So you have this dirty version, mesmerism, magnetism, and then you have this clean version, hypnotism. But it's still the same system, and they work in tangent, right? So, mesmerism, now we up to 11. Mesmerism and hypnotism, while there is great range of theories and practices collectively denoted mesmerism, research has clearly identified that there are substantial and significant differences between mesmerism and hypnotism, however they may be defined. Yes, one is the clean version, so it's psychology. So if you like me, I was in college, I was getting A's in psychology. So this stuff for me, like I said, was evident. I always had an understanding of the psychology, the human mind, and how it works. So this stuff, when, like I said, even at a young age, it made sense, even though I had to learn it through, the rough version, the mesmerism version. When it was time to understand the hypnotic or the psychological side of it, I was already alert, right? So I'm giving you how to keep yourself alert, right? And okay, now then we up to 12. The study of animal magnetism spurred the creation of the Society of Harmony in France, where members paid to join and learn the practice of magnetism. So we already told you about the charlatan, right? We explained the charlatan and his main practice and his confidence trick is to obtain money, power, fame, and advantages through pretense or deception, right? So these people are being indoctrinated through a system where he gained his fame, he had money through followers, right? And so that's how you see these organizations on the street build. Understand this system is universal. So as you look around, you'll start to say, oh, okay, now I see these groups and their nakedness, stripping all of the whatever they put in front of it, and you say, wait a minute, that's the same system. They did the same thing here in their indoctrinations, right? So Dr. John Bell was a member of the Philosophical Harmonic Society in Paris and was certified by the society to lecture and teach on animal magnetism in England, the Scottish, right? So he was using this system. He was authorized by who? This ain't even a real system. So they started a group, and then now all of a sudden he's authorized, right? Basically open a lodge and, give this teaching, right? So this is all masonry. This is what you get indoctrinated in when you go into those lodges, right? The existence of the society transformed what? Animal magnetism into secretive arts. See, so now when you win this, you start to see this connection. Now it's secretive art. You got to go into the lodge and you have to learn this stuff. Where its practitioners and lecturers did not reveal the techniques of the practice based on society's members that have paid for instructions. Right? When you're a Mason, you pay your dues and this stuff. So you learning just like until you were wise enough to see what they are doing to you. Right? So it's like, imagine being in church until you finally realize that, wait a minute, I could be a pastor. I could do this. So it's the same thing. So you in this secretive group, right? Once again, this is 13. The existence of the society transformed animal magnetism, and this is what's said in the readings, right? I'm just showing you what to look out for. Right? Animal magnetism into a secretive art where the practitioners and lecturers did not reveal the techniques of the practices based on the society's members that have paid for instructions, veiling the idea that it was unfair to reveal the practice to others for free. So me giving you this is like magic, right? In magic, a musician never shares, tells the secret. So you have to go pay for the card tricks, and if you paid for it, you want to get your money back, right? Why pay for something and now you instead of saying give it away for free? I paid attention. So all you gotta do is pay attention and you get the same thing, right? Others for free. Although the heightened security of the practice contributed to the skepticism about it. Many supporters and practitioners of animal magnetism touted the ease and possibility for everyone to acquire the skills to perform its technique. So while you in these secret meetings, right, if you are wise enough, you paid enough money, you too can learn how to start your own. Because through these stages, right, you should be paying attention to what's taking place. So by the time you reach a certain degree, you should be able to take this information, right, piggyback off of us and get a following. But whatever you do in order for that following, because we're going to co-sign you and help you get yours off the ground, you still have to be indoctrinated yourself. You see what I'm saying? Because in order for us to, you indoctrinated because while you building your group, you still promoting the hidden agenda, right? You were still, so while you getting into this and you're practicing this filthy religion, if you want to call it, or system, you are still a slave to it, right? Because your money relies on it. But while you are a slave to it, you are promoting other stuff. That's the facts, right? So this is why I tell people, you might think you can get in it and it's beneficial until you find out that what you want out of it is gonna cost you. It's gonna cost you, right? Many deemed animal, this is 14, many deemed animal magnetism to be nothing more than a theoretic falsity or quackery, right? That's what I'm telling you. It's the theoretical falsity, I agree. And it's the quackery, right? In that system is how you catch your suckers. They were suckers, and they realized that they were suckers, and so to get theirs back, they made you a sucker. Right? In 1790 publication, an editor presented a series of letters written by an avid supporter of animal magnetism, and included his own thoughts on the appendix, stating, "No fantasies ever divulged notion more wild and extravagant. No impudent impetric, right? Ever retailed promise more preposterous or historious of curse, more devoid of reality than the tribe of magnetizers." Basically saying that this system would be promoting these lies, right, to you while you believing that it's a reality, right? So these are tribes, these different groups are put out there to mislead you. Whether you believe it or not, this system is designed to shift the whole nation within these different pockets. That way, it bombards you in these different walks of life. So you could be talking to a crip and you could be talking to the pastor, and one in the streets, one supposed to be saving your soul, but yet these two will still have the suggestion in there that gets you. So you hear the Pope, talking to the transvestites, and I'm just using the modern push, right? So this is what you see in the modern era. When you see the woke community, it's a feminist, gay community. Right? That's their push. They are the ones who have the Masonic floor right now, the hustle, the game, right? To suggest inside your mind through your movies, your music. And I'm saying this because as you read Hypnotism, you will see the attachment to music, television, and all of these things. That's why I did these shows, to show you how to avoid it. Right? So then I want you, this is 15. So, the French Revolution, right? At the same time, remember we had the American Revolution. So understand that this system and what it's really designed to do, right? It's designed to transform the world around you. Everything that you're seeing is coming from that system and these pockets that's already been indoctrinated. So even if you have a strong will, right, you're gonna notice all of the people who's in the trance, even though they the ones claiming woke. They the most sleeped. they the ones rock about the best, right? The French Revolution catalyzed existing internal political friction in Britain in the 1790s. A few political radicals used animal magnetism as more than just a moral threat. Remember, I told you about your morals, right? But also a political threat. Among many lecturers warning society against government oppression. Listen, now this is in the 1790s. Think about, the American system now, right? What they are promoting. Think about not even just America, globally. This information that is being pumped out towards the people. Among many lectures warning society against government oppression, right? Samuel Taylor Coleridge, right, wrote, William Pitt, the great political animal magnetist, has most foully worked on the disease fancy of Englishmen, thrown nations into a feverish slumber, put them to sleep, and is now bringing it to a crisis which may converse mortality. So, in the sense, you think about the lectures that you hear in government and politics today, and you will see the same agenda being pushed, right? Major politicians and people in power were accused of by radicals of participating animal magnetism on the general population. So when you watch the news, they're all giving you these suggestions. They are chaining your brain. When you watch the movies, when you listen to the radio, these talk shows, when you pay attention to that without understanding the hidden agenda, the suggestions and the messages given to you, you overlook the truth, right? So I'm going to read, this is 16. Major politicians and people in power were accused of accused by radicals of practicing animal magnetism. Now we say Freemasonry or wokeism, right? So it really never tells you Freemasonry. It gives you the other name. Back then it was Enlightenment. Now it's woke. Just because these names are different, they are actually synonymous. They're the same damn thing. It's just like reading a thesaurus and you see your name and then you see all of these different other words that are similar to them. So that's what they did. They're using through the generations. They're using a thesaurus to say the same thing and to get the same results. In this article, this is 17. In his article, Under the Influence, right? This is what he wrote: Mesmerism in England, Freemasonry in England, the woke in England, right? Roy Porter noted notes that James Tilly Matthews suggested that the French were infiltrating England via animal magnetism. Matthews believed that magnetic spies would invade England and bring it under subjugation by transmitting waves of animal magnetism to subdue the government and people. Such an invasion from foreign influence was perceived as a radical threat. Right now, when you read that, I don't, like I said, this part right here. It's, I want to see if the person is, after they read that, are they keen in the game that's being promoted by Roy Porter, because that's the one who wrote the article, right? I want to see, but I'm gonna just give it to you. The invasion didn't come from the French. They actually invaded the French system, right? And with that mesmerism and all of that, and then turned around and blamed them for being the intruders, right? That's really what was taking place, right? So then we got up to 18. During the Romantic period, mesmerism produced enthusiasm and inspired horror in the spiritual and religious context. So now we're seeing that this system also plays a part within your religion. So when I gave you these three parts, you see how it came up. Your morals, your curiosity. First it attracted the curiosity. Then it went to your morals. Now it's going into your spiritual, religious, which is the same thing, right? Aspect. Though discredited by medical practice by many, mesmerism created a venue for spiritual healing, right? So when you see spirituality now in America, taking you away from religion, you see this same practice being brought to you. But it's only to take down a system and then introduce you to a new system. Right, so don't think spirituality is spirituality, meaning that you don't see its form, right? It's everywhere. But then when it gravitates into a body, the new religion will be revealed, Satanism, right? Which is slowly being revealed. That's why you see shows like Lucifer, and listen to the context and the themes of the movies and shows you are watching. Let me say this too. If you're gonna watch TV, you should watch it in binge. Well, we're gonna get into that, but you should binge. You should never watch it in the dark, and you should never watch it laying down. Right? These are just some of the rules that you should pay attention if you're not willing to fall into that trap. Now, hypnotist 14. This is 19, right? So now we're out of mesmerism, right? And we're into hypnotism, right? To hypnotize is a human condition involving focused attention. This is why I said if you're going to watch TV and those type of things, you shouldn't do it in a way where, your attention is so deep into it that the suggestions you overlook, right? The selective attention, selective inattention hypnosis, SASI, reduce secondary awareness and enhances capacity to respond to suggestion. So if the movie is so good, you will actually overlook the little things that's being suggested. So, like that's what they tell you TV is programming. A program on TV, right? So now when you get these programmings through these different shows, you don't realize that, wait a minute, that was being promoted in the last show. That was being promoted on this news article. That was being promoted in this hip hop magazine. That was being promoted, on this intellectual forum, and all of these different areas that's saying suggestion. So when are you able to combat it if you're not even aware of the universal suggestion? Remember, these are people in different pockets, so they'll come from different walks of life, right? There there are competing, this is 20, competing theories explaining hypnosis and related phenomena. Altered state theories see hypnosis in an altered state of mind or trance, marked by a level of awareness different from ordinary state of consciousness. But then it would, as you look, you would figure out most people, when were they ever in a normal state of consciousness? And from when they was born, these messages was given to them, TV, even through their parents. So when was they able to ever have this natural thought? Let me give you some, I'll read this and then I'll give you some information about myself personally. Right? Marked by levels of awareness, different from ordinary states of consciousness. In contrast, non-state theories see hypnosis as a type of placebo effect, a redefinition of an interaction with a therapist, or a form of imaginary role enhancement. Right? During hypnosis, a person is said to have heightened focus and concentration and an increased response to suggestion. Right? So you see, like kids who got ADHD and all of them, you need to hypnotize them in other ways, right? But let me just tell you something about me, right? I was always considered a bad kid. Like, I got kicked out of public school in the 5th grade. So from the 5th grade to the 10th grade, I was not in public school. I was kicked out of the public school system, right? Still graduated, still have all of the intelligence to give you all of this, right? Because my sense of awareness always blocked out stupidity. I was always the type of person that could sense certain things just wasn't right. And I wouldn't participate in that type of ignorance. So I would be labeled disruptive due to the fact that I'm teaching, like now, I'm disruptive to the system because once again, I'm showing you the BS. So if you wanted me to stand up and make a pledge of allegiance, I wasn't with that. I told you I've never been indoctrinated into any system, no gangs, no religions. I took my shahada as a sense of being able to read the books. I've been what do you call that shit? I want to say baptized. I don't know. One of them, dealing with, these different ways. But I personally never indulged in the practices, just praying and like it wasn't inside my household. So I didn't know God in the sense that, people with a belief, and these are the things that they attract to your belief. They attack your belief system, right? So only have one belief system, being upright, being righteous. That doesn't mean good. That doesn't mean bad. It doesn't mean, right or wrong. So it's for me, none of that doesn't exist. It's you don't do these things. I don't care if you're a man, woman, or child. If you do certain things, I'm going to react accordingly. If a woman holds a gun on me, what's the difference? Does that bullet shoot out flowers because it's a female? Or if a child holds that gun on you, does that bullet shoot out flowers? Other than if the man holds the gun, you see, like if a woman stabs you with a knife, do you want to giggle instead of die? Like, you understand what I'm saying? These same things I've never separated. Survival is not something I separate through gender. So I'm righteous and I'm going to hold you accountable. The things that I find despicable in a male, I'm going to find despicable in a female. The things that I find despicable in adults, I'm going to try my best to um guide the youth away from being despicable. Do I support those who are considered the bad? Yes, because in most cases, those are going to be your most righteous. They have morals and principles. They are deemed bad due to the fact that they are not, hypnotized by, society's lies to catch you off guard. They're fighting that. Like, nah, don't think because I'm cool that you're gonna violate me in any way, shape, or form. That's a righteous person. Not wanting to go and do wrong. Not to say that everything you do is gonna be that, but you do your best to not be whatever you don't want. Do unto others as you do unto self, right? And that's easier said than done or perceived. Meaning that if I've done wrong to people and people done wrong to me, I say that was my repentance if I can let that go. Repentance is, not just by words, but through actions, meaning that you robbed somebody before, you stole something before, somebody robbed you, but you didn't get harmed, you forgive them. You just let it go. You be like, well, I did that at one time in my life too. Somebody steals from you, nothing was harmed, nobody, me, I believe most of the times you should, not to say that I've always, lived this out. Sometimes I got physical probably without just cause, or what I felt was just cause, but not universal just cause, right? So, but in that, you learn to go, well, if these things, the wrongs that I have done, and I've accepted them as being wrong, right? If somebody performs those things on me, I have to forgive them, right? And then I know that I've quote unquote repented, but not to a higher being, but to an understanding of the world around me, of the people around me, right? So then we up to 21. I just wanted to give that as in, this understanding of a person and, this, how to understand, you in the world around you, basically, right? Now we up to 21. Hypnosis-based theory for the management of irritable bowel syndrome and menopause is supported evidence, meaning that, since most of that stuff is psychological, you can psychologically control that if you just gave it that attention, right? So menopause is supported by evidence. Use of hypnosis for treatment and other problems has produced mixed results, such as smoking, right? Right? And the use of hypnosis as a form of therapy to retrieve and integrate early trauma is controversial within the scientific community. When they say that, it means like the scientific community supposed to judge things on, ethics, not necessarily morals, but ethics. Right. And so, is that ethical for you to do these things? Why? Because research indicates that hypnotizing an individual may aid the formation of false memories, and that hypnosis does not help recall events more accurately. So even if, right, some remember, it's not what somebody puts you under hypnosis and you just automatically just start blurting out. They got to ask questions, and inside those questions is the suggestion. So here it goes. Somebody could suggest things to somebody who's easily impressed and change their whole thing, and then you have MK Ultra and whatnot, and these people going out committing mass murders and stuff because they have been bombarded with what's that joint? The Great Reset or the replacement theory, or right? These things become a reality when you bombard the people with them. Right. And so once, they see somebody who's been bombarded, the therapist or whatever, they could utilize that person for their own benefit. This is why, like, I got news articles and stuff. I haven't really been doing all of this stuff because there'd be so much stuff. So what I'm doing now is collecting them and then use like certain amount of them to prove a point, through this messaging and show you a timeline because they all have dates. So then I can show you this suggestion within the media, right? So then we into 22. The term hypnosis is derived from ancient Greek hypnos, sleep. That's what it means, right? The suffix osis, or from hypno, put to sleep. So while you thinking that, this system is, for one thing, that's why when you hear people say the woke, in reality, they are the sleep, and they are aiding and abetting you from, one reality that might have been asleep anyway to a new sleep. Right. And so you were put to sleep either way. You was asleep from the first lie given to you. And that's why I was giving you this background on myself. I always, like I told you, been resistant to what just didn't sound right. Right. And that means from the street level to, the corporate America. It's all the same thing. I always just had an ear for the BS. Right. Modern day hypnosis, how this is 23, right? Modern day hypnosis, however, started in the late 18th century and was made popular by who? Franz Mesmer, a German physician who became known as the father of modern day hypnotism. So a system that you was calling charlatans, quacks, and this, that, and the third, you built a whole legalized, clean version of. All they did was find out how to take, the hustle and turn it legit, right? And everybody who gets to certify, now you got to go through all of these things to be able to practice this system, right? In fact, hypnosis used to be known as mesmerism, as it was named after Mesmer. So you see this system, and they argued. I showed you the argument inside mesmerism where they was like, yo, why should he get the name of this when this system was before him, right? So then we up to 24. Braid's interest in these practices stems from his study of the school of religions in ancient Persians, right? Text describing a wide variety of Oriental religion rituals, key again, beliefs, key again, and practices. All of these are key things, right? Last May, this was in 1843, a gentleman residing in Edinburgh. Pay attention to that. Scotland, I told you, and now Scotland is the land, but then we go to a place in Scotland, Edinburgh. This is going to come up. Everything that we study from here on in, when we studying the Scottish Rite, it's going to lead you right here. And I'm going to show you, okay? Personal, we ain't finished yet. This is after I finish doing these lists. This is down to what, like 29, right? Right, so, okay. Braid's into practice mesmeric Edinburgh. Personally unknown to me. This saying that the person who wrote him, he didn't know him, claiming, right? Who had long resided in India, favored me with a letter expressing his apprehensions of the views which I had published on the nature and cause of hypnotic and mesmeric phenomena. In corroboration of my views, he referred me to what he had previously witnessed in Oriental religions and recommended me to look at the Dabistan, right? A book is Dabistan, right? A book later published in additional proof to the same effect. On much recommendation, I immediately sent for a copy of the book, in which I found many statements corroborating of the fact. So here I'm giving you, right, this information, and I'm telling you to look this up and see if it corroborates what I am offering you. No books. You know what I'm saying? This is just them, their words, their history. This is history. Right, and I'm showing you through history a system, right? And because of this, you will be able, at the end of this, you will get something so great by that, not this series, I mean this video here. By the end of this series, you will be getting something so great. Man, you will see, right? Corroborating of facts that the Eastern Saints are all self-hypnotizers. Adopting means essentially the same as those which I recommended for similar purposes, right? So, 25 is hysteria versus suggestion, and also look into Sigmund Freud. I'm gonna get into him. I got like a whole. It's not gonna be a real long show. It's really just a little mention of him, but it's his tactics and how you see the world playing today. He plays a big part in this as well, right? A person in the state of hypnosis. This is 26, right? A person in a state of hypnosis has focused attention and has increased suggestibility. When you're watching TV, you have a increased Suggestibility. The hypnotized individual appears to heed only to communications of the hypnosis and typically responds in an uncritical, automatic fashion while ignoring all aspects of the environment other than those pointed out by the hypnotist. In a hypnotic state, an individual tends to see, feel, smell, and otherwise perceive in accordance with the hypnotist's suggestion, even though these suggestions may be in apparent contradiction to the actual stimuli presented in the environment. We'll be getting into that more deeply, right? What that means. I'm gonna give you examples of that, and I highlighted this so when we go back, I'll be pointing this out to you. Right? The effects of hypnosis are not limited to sensory change. Right? Even the subject's memory and awareness of self may be altered by suggestion. Right? Like, right? Yo, you remember, right? And then be like, yeah, I think so, right? That's that, altered awareness, suggestion. And the effects of the suggestion may be extended post hypnotically. So it'll be longer lasting into the subject's subsequent waking activities. So after a while, this becomes the new way of their life, right? Hypnosis, this is 27, is normally produced by a hypnotic induction technique. Traditionally, this was interpreted as a method of putting the subject into a hypnotic trance. However, subsequent non-state theorists have viewed it differently, seeing it as a means of heightening clients' expectation, defining their role and focusing attention. So these are the things that a person is to get indoctrinated or inducted into, right? Because they see it as a means of heightening the client's expectation. What they think it might be, you heightening that, right? Defining their role within that heightened expectation, right? And focusing their attentions on that, and you got them, right? When James Braid first described hypnotism, he did not use the term suggestion, but referred instead of the act of focusing the conscious mind on the subject upon a single dominant idea. So if you watching a movie, right? And there's like, as the writer is writing, they're building a story around an idea. You'll be so engulfed into the story, you don't see the underlying idea. Right? I'm a writer, as you can see. One time, got as you can see the thickness of my book, you know what I'm saying? But as you can see, right, I'm a writer. I'm into script writing and stuff like that. I've been in this way since I was a kid. Like, my first job I ever wanted to be was the stuntman. Why? Because of, a TV show, The Fall Guy, where it showed you the behind the scenes. So I always had an attraction of behind the scenes. I didn't grow up to be a stuntman, but I still believe in the behind the scenes, Toto pulling back the curtain and you seeing behind of what making Oz. Right? So that's what I'm doing. I'm pulling the curtain back and showing you the wizard, right? Supposed wizard. Then we go into successibility, right? The Stanford Harvard HIP, right? The Stanford, Harvard, HIP, and most other successible scales convert numbers into an assortment of person successibility as high, medium, or low. Approximately 80% of the population are medium, which means that they can be hypnotized, right? Then you have the extreme high, right? And then you have the extreme low. I would be a part of the extreme low because I'm always questioning. I'm getting to the root of things. You know what I'm saying? And if I ignore something, like I see sucker stuff and I'll ignore it, not because they might think they're getting over, but I'm really watching and observing to see what do they think they are accomplishing. you know I'm a student, you know what I'm saying, of the human mind, so I'm studying it even in real time, right? There are some controversies as to whether this is distributed on the normal bell-shaped curve or whether it is bimodal, right, with small blips of people at the high end, right? And so, we talk about, I remember I mentioned the 5% nation, and they mentioned the 5%, the 10%, and the 85. So their percentage of this, right, is, 5% versus 10%, right? And they're saying that the 10% are the manipulators, right? And, who are controlling this 85% on this medium scale. All right. If you believe that, that's on you. There are some controversies. Make the bell. Okay, end. Hypnotizability scores are highly stable over a person's lifetime. So whatever that is, it's usually gonna stay that way. Research by Deidre Burnett has found that there are two distinct types of highly susceptible subjects, which she terms fantasizers and dissociates. Fantasizers score high on absolute absorption scales, right? Find it easy to block out real world stimuli without hypnosis. Spend much time daydreaming, report imaginary companions as a child, and grew up with parents who encouraged imaginary play, right? Disassociates between often have a history of childhood abuse and other traumas, learn to escape into numbness. Like they block everything out. They don't want to, know nothing. Right. And to forget unpleasant events. They don't want to remember the stuff that happened. They are easily, manipulated as well because you can get them to do things, right? And this is why you get revenge. So you can lead them in a way. They are very dangerous. Those are the ones you see shooting up schools. And I'm not going to just say that. I hate to say that. But these are the people that you see do extreme things. And you saying, oh man, that's strange that they popped up at this time. Well, that's because the suggestions were given to them. That's why you got to watch. Oh, most of them was in therapy. And you better watch those people. Not the ones who already did it, it's over with. But the ones who sent them on that path, you should watch them, right? Where we at? Okay. Um, Numbness, right? Unpleasant events. Their association to daydreaming was often going blank rather than creating vivid recalled fantasies. Both score equally high on formal scales of hypnotic successibility. So those two types of high successibility, these are the characteristics that they are looking for in order for them to utilize them, MK Ultra and all of these type of things, right? So now that I read my list, let me come over here and show you, right, the information, right? I'm gonna pull up my desktop here, right? Okay, I'm gonna take myself away. As you can see, right, you go to Wikipedia, you look up animal magnetism. I want to just show you that, how much reading you will actually be doing in this section, right? This section is fairly long versus other stuff that you are reading, right? So it's just really up to here, right? The page, as you can see, it's just right here, right? So from up here to about here is all of the reading that you're going to do on this, right? Then we go over to the charlatan, right? As you can see right here, right, pardon me, right? See right here, this is, basically, what you're going to read is not that much. Right, that's what I'm telling you. To read this, you're not gonna be really going through to right there, right? See right there, right? Because all of this right here is over with. That's just, this is when you wanna go and read other references and stuff like that, which I would advise. But what I'm saying, just for you to get the gist, right, and have a good understanding, all you're doing is reading that much, right? And this is for charlatan, right? Then we're going over to hypnosis, which is actually this is probably the longest one, right? So then we coming down, right? Let me show you. These are all of the different, different types, because this is just all philosophy, right? See, hold on a minute here. Take me away. Who you see up there? Sigmund Freud, right? See his name? He's behind me. Anyway, so, so as we're coming down, I just want you to see how much you are actually going to be reading. It's not this major, like 60 books of reading yet. Once you have this, right, this is to spark your interest, and really prevent you from falling victim, right? So, see right here. Now, from this page, right, you got right there. So from there, to here is where you'll be reading. This is probably out of all of the articles that I'm advising right now. This ain't going to be the most out of all of the articles, period. But out of the ones that I'm advising for you to prevent yourself from falling in the trap, yes, this is probably the longest one you'll read, right? And then we got suggestion, right? See up there? Suggestion, right? And as you can see, this is not really a long thing. This is just giving some insight into what you're reading. Now, you see the scroll bar still nice and thick, so that means that, it ain't much there, right? So anything that I'm giving you is not going to take you extreme. Suggestibility is longer than, suggestion, right? So this is accessibility, right? You see right here how much you're reading. It's not much. Like I said, if you are a real reader, you'll bust all of this out in like 2 days. But to make sure you have a good understanding, I would advise you to take a week in this understanding, right? So we got hypnotic suggestibility, right? And again, not much at all, right? Because then you got your other readings and then you got your reference notes. Like I said, we will be going into these reference notes. This is for you to know that this ain't just, somebody like me just making an article, or no, this comes with absolute evidence, right? Then we got Nancy School. And inside here, right, this is in Paris. So inside here, right, once again, you see hypnotism, right? So we understand once again that this system is set up to teach them. And even inside here, right, you'll see Sigmund Freud, right? See him again in there. Now, after you get that, you go and you will start getting the readings. And like I told you, the first readings would be Duncan Rituals and Manuals, right? This book presented the Masonic institution rituals along with grips, passwords, and whatnot. Now, let me see something. Go to the title page. All right. So you go inside here. As you can see, a lot of this stuff would be, just quick stuff. And you should already have an understanding, right, of what you are going through, right? Preface, right? And you understand. I'm just showing you, the length of it. It's not it's not a lot. It's not a lot. The next book that you go through will be, right, this. Oh, hold on a minute here. This is, what did I do with that other one? Hold on. Okay, my fault. Come in here, come back over here, open up the master's carpet, right? Waiting for it to open up now, right? Okay. So now I took the book and actually, been printing it out because, as you know, I've been doing shows on this, right? So I'm giving you the insight and telling you. I even tell you as I do it. You can go read this book yourself. It doesn't require me, to go through it. As you can see right here, you got the date, 1887. I told you when I purchased this book over 20 years ago, it cost me like $80 or more. I believe it was more. But you can actually get this book for free on, the internet. Just type in the Master's Carpet PDF and you will get the same article. Right now, as I'm in here, I want to just show you something. Right? Go down here. As you see, I took page for page. That way people would know that I'm not, making this up. Now, let me move this over for you. Okay. It says that it is a religious philosophy or a system of religious science, right? That it was revived and present day and present outward form in 1717. Right? So understand that Freemasonry, and I'm telling you how, Franz Mesmer and these people, they're from this time frame. So, even though he's not the inventor, but he was the one who was given it to bring it into the outward form that you see today, because it revamped itself. So, the woke community came out of the Enlightenment, which was a part of, this same system. So even though it changes its name, this system is there. The reason why I'm showing you this is to keep you alert, so when the tides change, you will be up to speed. You will know how to identify it based off of what I've told you, right? So then let me come back over here, right? And so that was, because this is just the list that I was reading off, right? So this is my list, that I'm telling you that you would do, right? See where it says right here, reading list, all right? So this is what you would involve yourself in order to get this information, right? Why is this like this? Hold on. All right. All right. Okay. So, right, you got these three right here. All right. And remember, I told you curiosity. This is what your beliefs, how this attacks your beliefs, right? And your morals. So I hope that, this helps you on your first part. I will be, continuing my shows, and give me like about a week, 2 weeks, especially if I hear anything back after this information, then I will go into the religious aspects of it. Until next time, peace, stay sharp, break those chains. This is Old York Gritty. I am Juice Wanna. Once again, don't forget to check out my book, Street Skelzy, Knock 'em. Oh, let me take my desktop away. Street Skelzy, Knock 'em out the box. This is a murder mystery, people, right? If you contact me personally, I could send you out one of my personal copies. I got a bunch of them here just to let you know. This is the real deal. You can see the thickness in it. It's a good read. You can see I do, what I do. Right, so I'm not just a reader. I'm a writer, an entertainer. I write music. I'm actually coming out with a poetry book as well. But like I said, if you want to support the channel, check out my apparels. We can also get cups and stickers and stuff like that. You can also purchase my book, and either way you'll be able to support me. I hate giving anything or receiving anything without you having something personally to walk away with. Peace. We out of here.